Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Merchant of Venice, and today we get to hear from the Duke of Venice in Act 4, Scene 1, but we haven't talked at all about Act 3, Scene 5 because there's no monologues in it, so real quick recap. Portia is married to Bassanio. Bassanio has gone to Venice to try to at least see Antonio before he has to give up a pound of his flesh because all of Antonio's boats met with shipwreck conditions, so he can't afford to pay Shylock back. But Portia has left Lorenzo and Jessica in charge of her estate and told them that she's going to go hang out in a monastery. But she also sent Balthazar to this lawyer that she knows so that Balthazar could bring back some clothing and some documents and meet Portia and Nerissa at the docks by this boat that happens to go to Venice fairly frequently. Because Portia and Nerissa are going to go to Venice dressed as men, and we'll see what sort of shenanigans they get into in just a little bit. And that's basically the end of Act 3, Scene 4. Act 3, Scene 5, we start out with Lancelot Gobbo, who is sometimes just called Clown. And remember, he was Shylock's servant, but left Shylock's service to go serve Bassanio instead. We start Act 3, Scene 5 with him talking to Jessica and saying like, sorry, you're damned to hell because you're the child of Jewish parents. And she's like, no, I'm going to be a Christian now and I'm marrying a Christian man and my husband will save me. And Lancelot Gobbo's like, he's not that good a Christian that he can save you too. And Lorenzo comes in and he and Lancelot Gobbo exchange some witty banter and go through some wordplay as Lorenzo tries to get Gobbo to like set the table for dinner and go get dinner prepared and all that sort of thing, which Lancelot Gobbo eventually leaves. And then Lorenzo turns to Jessica and is like, so what do you think of Portia? And Jessica's like, she's awesome. And he's like, I want to pick your brain about some other stuff. And she's like, no, let's go have dinner first. And that's the end of Act 3. So Act 4, Scene 1, we are in Venice. And it is time for Antonio's trial to determine whether or not he has to give this pound of flesh to Shylock because he can't afford to pay him back the money that he owes, the 3,000 ducats. So we start the scene with Antonio and the Duke of Venice, and the Duke of Venice is like, he's not actually going to demand, like who in their right mind would actually demand a pound of flesh? And Antonio's like, yeah, but if he does, I want you to uphold the law because it's more important that you uphold the law than set a strange precedent to keep me alive. And the Duke's like, oh, you sure? Okay, well, let's get this thing going. Is Shylock here? And they're like, yep, he's here. And they bring Shylock in, and the Duke says, make room and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then, 'tis thought, thou'lt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. And where thou now exact'st the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh, thou wilt not only loose the forfeiture, but touched with humane gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses that have of late so huddled on his back, e'en now to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flints, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew. So what he's saying is, we all think that you're just psyching everybody out and you're just playing the tough guy, but as soon as you see Antonio here, who just lost everything because all of his ships are wrecked and everybody feels bad for him, like even the most stone-hearted, cold, mean, rude, cruel people feel bad for him right now, we're pretty sure that you, now here in this court, are also going to feel bad for him. You're not going to take the pound of flesh, and you might even forgive part of his debt or give him a little longer to pay it back or some sort of a thing so that all of this can be made right and nobody has to be sliced into. And Shylock's response is tomorrow's monologue. So I'll see you then for that. Mwah.